Hey, what's going on, everyone? Just before we get going in the episode today, we want to talk about a couple of our buddies that support us. If you don't want to listen to this, skip to about 5 minutes of the podcast. But if you want to get some rad hookups on some rad gear, stay tuned as we talk about a few people that support us. Give us some promo codes to hook you guys up. That's what we like to do. We've had a couple of our buddies on the show recently, starting with Muertos Coffee. They're out of Winters, California. They're firefighter owned, operated, plus proceeds go back to the Fallen Firefighters Foundation. Use promo code JustAnotherFailure at checkout to receive 15% off, plus proceeds from that will go back to our front line and our firefighters out there. Next up, you need a watch, you lose track of time, you want a cool backpack, maybe some CrossFit gear. The boys out at Rockwell Watches in Woodcross, Utah is where they're at. They got you hooked up. Head over to Rockwell Time now. Use promo code FAILURE20 to receive 20% off the entire website. Finally, I got it on right here. You might be needing some sunglasses to protect your eyes while looking good. Our buddies at Heatwave out of San Jose, California got you covered. Use promo code FAIL at checkout and you're going to receive 10% off. Oh, nice. And if you like our flags that we run on the lower half, not the upper half, but on the lower half of our podcast, check out the buddies at 30 Seconds Out. Veteran-owned, operated company. Sun Valley, Utah. They got awesome flags. They got awesome gear, swag, patches, stickers. Check them out now. You're not going to regret it.
And, yeah, enjoy the episode, guys.
Have a good one. Here we go.
What up?
All right, here we go.
What's going on?
Came in way too hot. Way too hot.
Please tell me you're okay.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Just Another Failure podcast with myself, Devin, my buddy Matt over here, and with us today, we got our dude Case. He is the co-founder of Cannadips, which is a CBD pouch that is an alternative to dipping. Get out of that dip game because that stuff's no good.
Alternative to tobacco and nicotine, man. And yeah, how's it going, bud? Thanks for having us up here.
Yep, stoked to have you guys.
So we're in this isn't Eureka, this is Arcata.
This is Arcata, California.
Arcata, California. And you're originally from Santa Cruz, right?
Santa Cruz, grew up there, and then made the trek up north in 2003, right out of high school.
Nice, man. So let's kind of get the opening story of Cannadips. How did you kind of come up with this idea of getting kind of grinding up, for layman's terms, I'm going to call it this, but you're going to correct me, grinding up, hemp leaves and creating a pouch out of it, but I know there's way more to it after going in the back and the spices and the things. Kind of walk us through how this kind of came to sight.
Sure. So I think to take the story back even one more level, I think kind of the Humboldt story and getting into cannabis and then getting into this cannabis product, which it's all relative, was through Reggae on the River Music Festival.
Okay.
Music festival that had been going on for 30 plus years, kind of like pre-Burning Man. This was the festival, where you wanted to go party and spend 3 days camping, and there wasn't Symbiosis, lightning in a bottle, every other thing. I got kind of led into that community, which was run by all the marijuana farmers in Humboldt. They were all the people that handled the coordination and the event, and it was kind of like I got in volunteering parking crew, and it was we weren't on psychedelics the whole time, and the guy who was running our crew came over and was like, "You guys are great. Like, you want to make $400 a day?" Or like, we were out of college at this point. Like $400. I was a personal trainer making like $18 an hour living at my mom's in Santa Cruz.
Yeah, that's pretty relatable.
I was like, absolutely. So my buddy and I, we lied to our parents. We told them we were going to go build rainwater catchment systems in the woods for a commune. And we came up to Humboldt. We got led into the community, started just basic trimming, 3 years of sitting in chairs, somehow, some way, I became the top trimmer in the county out of like thousands of people.
Humble brag.
Humble brag.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, it was, not something that guys that we're normally proud of. Guys that were normally farmers, and I was sitting in the trim circle, but I was crushing it. I made like 60 grand when you're just snipping leaves.
Wow.
Yeah, not bad.
And then I saw everything changing. Legalization was happening. Questions from the parents of what are you doing with your life started appearing. Went back and got my MBA, and realized that there was this finite moment where there was going to be a chance to monopolize the experience I had and the growing cannabis industry. And I was at that point I'd been doing a lot of extraction. And I was back home in Santa Cruz at a barbecue. I just made a seed investment into a buddy's entertainment company. Terrible investment. And my buddies at the barbecue called me up that night. He's like, I got this great idea. Like it's called weed dips. And I was like, it's like midnight. He called me, and I was like, terrible name, but like,
I think we could work with that a little bit, but I like what you're doing.
well, I just went on Google. I was like, this has been done. Brilliant. We were all dippers. We grew up chewing Skull in Copenhagen when we were 16. I mean, that's just, sitting in Santa Cruz, watch the waves, hang a chew, be one of the boys. Like, that just is what it was. I couldn't find anything on the internet. Like, I was blown away. I was like, nothing. So I called him back like 2 a.m. I was like, Cannadips. And he's like, oh, that's good. So we, kind of took off from there, right? I mean, it was a brilliant idea. Like, a lot of guys that like dip were like, anyone you bring up the idea to at that point wanted to be involved in it, realized it had legs, because no one had done it. And we,
What year was this?
this was 2016.
Okay.
So we, I'd already been up here. He came to me with the idea because, he knew I could execute it, or at least he thought I could. He knew I just got my MBA and I was in the weed industry already. So we created a company and, drew up the idea. I had never launched anything before, so a lot of learning from, how to raise capital, how to protect intellectual property, how to do A to Z. But we initially raised 150 grand. We invested that whole 150 grand to purchase our initial tins, which came from the Netherlands. We negotiated like the minimum order, which was like 60, 70 grand. And then we bought a pouching machine in India, which, and we didn't know how to make the product at that point. Like, we were just new, like, this is the big ticket items that we needed. And we were off to the races.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Like when I learned about it, from Dana Creech, Area 52. Saw him posting about it. I'm like, dang, that's a cool product. Especially like myself, I grew up kind of the rodeo 4-H background, Copenhagen Skull, like chewed forever, and then kind of went chew to snus, and I was like, man, that's a really cool concept. Like, this is rad. Let's go find out who these guys are and kind of learn about the company. So just seeing exactly like what you said, like the legalization of cannabis and the culture really changed from cannabis. It was like a frowned upon community, and now like cannabis is in everything, and especially CBD. People see the huge benefits from CBD and just using CBD products as well.
Totally.
It's like a way better alternative. You can obviously have more of a natural healing than, obviously the pill side of things that has become such a problem. So it's actually cool to have something that's natural, and it's like, dude, that's easy. Most people already carry, a little tin in their pocket because, like you said, so many people chew already. So it's like the same thing, and you're popping something in natural that's way better for you, and you kind of get the same relief. That's always cool. But talk about more. You do have obviously the CBD side of things, but you also have the THC side of things as well with your extract company as well, right?
So we the facility that you guys are at today. This is our hemp CBD business. We're in 5,000 stores. It's its own standalone company. A lot of investors and other people can't touch cannabis. One of our investors is a Canadian organization. They can't touch cannabis, and if they did, then they wouldn't be allowed back into Canada. So we had to kind of separate church and state. We started as a marijuana company in 2016 when Cliff gave me that fabled call, and then had kind of temporarily shut our cannabis business down over the last year, but are about to reemerge with new technology, get it really rolling in California, and really capture a lot of tailwind from everything that we're doing with CBD, which, we had the product in California from 2016 to probably early 2020, late 2019, as a cannabis product. And I think, California had just gone legal. I mean, maybe I should even just back up into the product development to launching and going legal, because if we're talking about failures as a business, I mean we got plenty of them. Yeah. Because there's a lot of, just California going legal and that whole landscape. There's a lot to talk about there, but I think I'm just going to kind of backtrack to, we got the machine, we headed to India, we had no clue what we were doing. I hired a buddy who was a microbrewer from Ecuador to design the initial flavors. This guy was, I knew he was a brilliant dude. He opened up the first microbrewery in Ecuador in this beautiful town, surf town, trying to draw a name for it, but
not close to Quito, because that's up in the mountains.
Quito's in the mountains, but this is right on the right on the water. It's like part of the World Surf Tour. He owns a microbrewery on the beach.
Yeah.
And then they actually have an amazing nightclub on the beach. It's all Function One sound. It's pretty fun if you ever get out to Ecuador. But
yeah, we need to head to Ecuador.
I've only been to Quito, but yeah,
Quito's cool.
Yeah, it's rad down there. Ecuador's really cool.
But anyway, so he designed the initial flavors. We didn't know what we were doing, but the brilliant thing he did was, we realized like the mulch medium that we used, he came up with coconut fiber, which is byproduct of the coconut oil industry, essentially free, looks like tobacco because it's brown. That's the outside husk of the coconut.
Oh, interesting.
So we grind that up, we sterilize it, we use it, but we didn't realize at the time, all of the competitors in the chewing tobacco alternative space use either like mint leaves or coffee grinds or spearmint leaves or this lettuce leaf, and in our opinion, they just don't taste as good. What we realized was the coconut fiber is so absorbent, it absorbs over 20 times its weight. You could use it to clean up oil spills. So interestingly enough, when we use the coconut fiber, it absorbs all the flavor, and then our product releases flavor for like up to an hour, 2 hours, because it's coming out of the coconut. We had no clue the genius of that, and we patented that. But we brought him on board. He started working, how do we make this product? Okay, like mixing all this stuff together. So we just sent this really oily batch of product that isn't close to our current product. We didn't know proper levels of essential oils, or we weren't a well-capitalized company. It was
you were just kind of sending it, seeing what happened, essentially.
It was clip and case. We got 150 grand. We spent it all on tins and equipment, and we were just gonna like push our way forward. So we went out to India. I'd found this guy who had sold us on a machine. I'd already paid like 30% down, so like it had to work.
You're in at this point.
We're in.
No other option.
You're not
We
coming
need
back.
help here.
Yeah. No, we're in. We mail over product that doesn't have THC or CBD, but that's our coconut fiber, just to prove it could work, because like we're gonna make our final payment. Need to see that it works. We're in India, which I don't know if you guys have ever been.
I'm in India.
Okay. I've traveled the whole world, but India's a very interesting place.
What part were you in? Where were you guys at?
It's a little town called Faridabad, which is right outside of Delhi.
Okay.
Very industrial. Poverty is real. When you're in India and you see how things are going down, sweatshops, labor, like it's intense. I mean, we showed up and, we just saw where everything was being made. We're like, it was a little disturbing.
Yeah.
And tough, but at the same time, there was no one else that made this equipment, and we could go to Germany and get the machine we have now. It's like a 12 to 16 month lead time, and it's like 350 grand. So like we didn't have that option. But we headed out there, like the equipment didn't work. They like put us in a back room and kept feeding us coffees and like just like, it's gonna be good. It's gonna, be good.
Hey, don't worry, don't worry. We're gonna figure this out.
It's like my 14th cup of coffee.
Can I see my machine now? No. Just drink the coffee.
Day 2 still hadn't seen the machine. It was like, all right, this is
You were up for 2 days as well, just because coffee was tweaking you out.
Yeah, and just stressing because we knew that we'd already spent all the cash, or the majority of the cash. So, they actually ended up coming up with some cool inventions around like getting the machine to work with our product, even though the product was super oily at that point, and then we worked it, got it down. But I will give them that. Like, we got that machine worked. We made it work. So, machine came back to the U.S. We then needed to figure out, how do we get cannabinoids, which are fat soluble, to absorb in the mouth? Nicotine is water soluble. There's an artery in your mouth that goes right to your brain. That's why it works so good. Cannabinoids, which are fat soluble, you got to either smoke them, so combust them, or eat them with like butter, other fat things, and have an edible. And we didn't realize, like, if you just put cannabinoids inside of a pouch, they're never going to get out of the pouch.
They just don't do anything, yeah.
They don't do anything. They're large molecules. You'd have to eat the whole pouch. We'd have a complete dud. So we realized, like, oh shit, there's like a lot of science to this, And I had a bachelor's of science in exercise science, So I had taken some.
Now you need a chemist though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started getting on the phone. I mean,
you need a biochemist at this point.
One of my super abilities is I'm a connector. So like just figuring out all the players, who we need to work with, who we need to call, connect A to B, C to D. So we found an amazing chemist. She was a 30-year flavor chemist. We don't use her technology at this time as it doesn't work on our equipment, but she's got unbelievable tech. We got it going. We created a product that had like a dry emulsion technology. She then audited all of our flavors and was like, these are super dangerous. Like, you cannot put this product into market. So she actually, we spent probably $5,000 a SKU and got like them dialed to where they're completely safe and you can chew multiple pouches. And we launched into the, it was like the first year of the legal cannabis industry, and we were in the first couple months. Everyone's fighting. Like, it's a land grab for licenses to start off. I don't know how much that you guys followed, but like pre-Prop 64, which went live, I believe, in 2017, was Prop 215. And
I remember 215.
Mm-hmm. Prop 215 was great because, I mean, the way Prop 215 worked was, as a farmer, you get a bunch of people's scripts and you put them out on a sign and say, please don't raid us. And you grow a ton of pot and, you either sell it to the dispensaries or, whatever happens that the farmers do.
You donate it.
Yeah, but it was like the stores had the same thing, right? There was like 2,000 stores in the state of California. When Prop 64 went live, those 2,000 stores went down to like 100 stores. And all these companies and licenses and all this product and huge taxation, and then consumers are going into stores and like the product is 5x what the guy selling it to them is, and there's just no accounts and you're fighting for all the accounts. So there was like this multi-year bloodbath, which we had entered into with this Cannadips product, which, in our mind, we were gonna, best product ever. It was a great product, but wasn't gonna compete with flower, vapes. We got it into a bunch of stores, had a lot of wins. We had built a whole field sales team just for Cannadips, like just for the state of California. We probably could have had a couple other SKUs, to pay people to just go into dispensaries and to just sell Cannadips. I mean, they could get it in, but, just getting it. You don't realize, with consumer packaged goods, like there's selling it and then there's pulling it off the shelves. Like, as a brand, you have the responsibility, like, I don't want to just sell you the product. I need to make sure that people go in, know about it, buy it from you, pull it off that shelf to then get that wheel rolling. And, we were so green. We had no clue on how any of this stuff works. Got the THC. THC was a success, won a lot of awards, but it was a tough climb as just a standalone business. California, even though It's like one of the lowest amount of dippers in the whole state, or in the whole country. I mean, so we launched a chewing tobacco alternative. You go into dispensaries, the bud tenders generally women. Oh my God, like what is that? We don't dip. It's like no, no, no. This is like so. We initially launched the brand almost. It looked way different than it looks today. Like we were almost trying to make the product in the pouch, um, like kind of like it was like guys skateboarding with long hair and women and like trying to make it like this dry tincture pouch and very relatable and this new way to consume. And we kind of had to shy away from like masculinity and like chew and like what we really wanted and pretend it was something else.
Yeah, like this is for everybody. It's not just
It's a new thing, anytime, anywhere.
Shy away from the sports
Yeah.
and the rodeo and the action sports guys.
This is the perfect
the boys
dose.
packing
Yeah.
dingers. You
Yeah.
couldn't. That wasn't very sellable for people, huh?
Couldn't do any of that. And it wasn't, I think, until we realized it was, product wasn't selling how we expected it to sell. It was great. We got the notoriety out. The brand was built. Trade show after trade show. But we realized that the opportunity was chewing tobacco is a $7 billion industry. There's 7 million dippers in the U.S. 50% of them want to quit, and there's not a good product to quit. So it was figuring that out and getting it out of the market we were in, still keeping the THC going, but realizing we need to get CBD going. So we partnered with a co-packer in Vegas, and we found a tobacco distributor in LA. That's one of our partners now, and we launched into the national sphere in probably mid 2018.
Okay.
And it's a little bit of a rift between Cliff and I, as the two co-founders. I was always trying to push the big vision of get this thing, like we wanted to be the Copenhagen of cannabis. He really wanted to make California work more, so he was kind of focused there, and I kind of was focused always more on the future, and he was kind of more on the present. But I think, getting that brand out there, getting into retail, was imperative, and talk about failures. I mean, we launched a chewing tobacco alternative product at $19.99 in retail in 2018 because we had other people in our supply chain that were needing to make pretty good profits. And, chewing tobacco is like, anywhere between $4.99 and $8.99 a can in the U.S. Like, you're not going to get a guy in Oklahoma to put down his skull or his red man or his whatever red seal for a $20 can of CBD.
Yeah, go pay $20 for something that
Ain't gonna work.
Yeah, right.
Ain't gonna work, man. So I mean, it didn't work. When you get all these other, you rejigger this whole new thing to do CBD, and you get all this new expensive equipment, and you get partners, and then you put a $20 product in market, and it doesn't pull. That's a problem. So we're lucky that through even that hurdle, one of the shining lights on the journey was, we were working at a trade show. I ran into the ex-CEO of Copenhagen and Skoal, this guy Brian Quigley, and he was like, "Oh, I love your guys' brand. Like, we had it at Altria. Like, we all think it's like the best can ever. Like, it's amazing."
Hey, hold on. Let me get my phone out. Can you say that real quick again? Just let the people know real fast.
I left the trade show at his card. I was like, man, this is it. Like this guy was great. He left Big Tobacco, 6 months previously. He was kind of going on doing his own thing. He was super into cannabis. He started a cannabis consulting company. And he started working with us and diagnosing, the problems in our business and creating a plan to get this thing moving forward. And, if the product and brand wasn't so good, there were so many opportunities for us to lose the whole thing. I mean, just multiple landmines and nuclear bombs.
Well, he's like a perfect piece for you too, because you kind of get like an inside view of what you're trying to like compete with, right? Like he had
the market.
Yeah,
value.
he had everything that you needed to know on how to be, against that. Obviously, like you're going the other way on dip, So like having a guy that was in the dip industry, like that's easy to be able to be like, how can we fix this?
Well, knows the consumer, knows,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I can sit here and be like, 85% of dips sold at convenience stores. We know that, I mean, we know who they are, we know where they shop. And, at that point, we rejiggered our business. We realized, like, we got to get our product priced under $10 a can. That's the only way this is going to work. So this last year, I mean, we took manufacturing back. We built out this whole facility during COVID. In our CBD, we created a CBD business. We raised $5 million during COVID. We got the price of our product to $9.99 online, and then at retail, it's anywhere from $7.29 to $9.99. So it's selling in the feasible price point. And we've built an amazing executive team through, we got 3 ex-Altria people that are incredible executives, from head of sales to consumer engagement, and we're learning, I mean, retail is no joke. I mean, I used to complain about the dispensaries and the cannabis industry and these like little ticky-tacky complaints, and then when you get into store chains that are 100, 500, 1,000, I mean, the level of issues, just multiply. It doesn't mean that they get any easier. So we're really focused on getting cans in hands, get a big retail footprint, making sure that we can pull the product off the shelf. And, I mean, our vision is, same as it was, be the Copenhagen of cannabis, and provide guys an amazing product to either help them quit, or to build into their rotation, or to just have something to play with while they're out, riding the track or golfing on the weekend, or doing whatever, and provide like utility to guys' lives. I mean, we don't have to always have products that are hurting us in some way, especially as athletes.
Yeah. Well, talk about the athlete side of things too, because I mean, we were going over it a little bit. I mean, you have people, baseball, football, all sports all across the map. I mean, from your 4 major sports to stuff like moto, like stuff like that. And I mean, since it is CBD, it's not, technically marijuana, so you kind of have a play area where you can get into these major sports without getting any of the athletes in trouble as well.
Because you said it won't show up on a drug test. Like, this is a product that it's pure hemp based, so you don't have to worry about drug testing.
But still, from an athlete endorsement standpoint, a lot of them still can't really say anything, especially in certain sports like Major League Baseball, NFL. But I mean, we're supplying, like I said, over 50 Major League Baseball players, certain teams, locker rooms, lots of NFL players, lots of golfers, all extreme sports. I think over these next couple of years, we'll see more adoption. The FDA is still coming out with the regulations around CBD from hemp, how they're going to classify it, whether it's a supplement, whether it's a food, whether all these other different classifications, which will be really helpful in kind of creating guidance that other organizations can get behind. But I think to kind of touch base on the sports side, I mean, we're trying to be, the sports cannabis brand out there. Even though this is a CBD product, the tin says humble, we have the cannabis side of our business. And we're a product that pairs great with sports. I mean, as you guys know, chewing tobacco and baseball is synonymous.
Yep.
They've been trying to get chew out of the sport for over 20 years. But all other sports, I mean, I was really surprised early on with football. I mean, a couple of years ago, we were supplying some of the NFL guys, and I guess dipping in, they watch film all week. Dipping in the film room is like, that's all they do. I mean, how else are you going to watch the TV for 8 hours? You got the coach. Like, they need to be getting.
They're over there nodding away.
So we're really focused on cracking sports in a more major way. I mean, we're looking as a brand to do everything we can from like a platinum level of compliance, so that we can get sign off from major league sports organizations. One of that is working with NSF, getting our facility NSF certified, getting our product NSF certified, which are both in the works. But also, we're following CGMP. Like when we took you guys back, they're pulling 5 pouches out every 15 minutes, getting the weights, doing the logs, doing the retention samples. Like, just that level is required to get pro sports sign off. So even if the MLB isn't behind it this year, we're hoping that when we can crack that conversation, our body of work is there. Because outside of just having fun too, as like part of the brand, being able to go to these events, work with these people, I love it. I grew up a sports fiend.
Now, a market that I think would be huge for this, where I know there's a lot of tobacco use, is the military, but obviously there's probably some deals with cannabis and the military being able to use it. But even military, post-military veterans, they have a huge addiction to tobacco, cigarettes, dip, and everything like that, because our guys go over to combat and they sit in combat and get hooked on chew and stuff like that, just trying to stay awake. And are you guys kind of pushing with a veteran community or veteran societies or anything like that, or working with some veteran companies?
We need to be doing more on the THC side in the early days. Totally, we worked with the Wounded Warriors Project. Okay. So up here in Humboldt, we gave anytime we had like extra product, or like there was 1,000 cans that got the wrong sticker, which the product's still fine or whatever. Like, we totally worked in those organizations. We can't put the product into the active military like you said right now, the CBD product, but you bring up a good point that I think we need to do more, have more time and figure out from an organizational standpoint, what type of veterans organization we can work with, how we can get more involved. Obviously, we have a lot of vets that use our product, that reach out, and dipping is huge in that culture as well. So I think it's just needs to get back up on the priority list. But no, from the CBD side, we don't have a current organization.
Yeah, there's definitely some people that we've worked with the podcast. Maybe we guys can tie you guys up with some of our guys, because I think some of our guys would absolutely love this product. Both sides of you guys, especially with the veteran side. I see it serving a huge aspect to them. But you guys are also, like, your marketing's awesome. Like, you go to your guys' Instagram, Cannadips on Instagram, and you guys have a lot of just great content, video, photography, how you show your product, the way people are filming it. You guys are working with like Bob Menery and stuff. So kind of walk through like a little bit of your guys' marketing department, kind of coming up with the ideas. Who else were you guys working with? Bob Menery, and then you guys had...
we got a lot.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee is one of our big guys that we're partnered with. I think, but just to kind of, the marketing started with Cliff. Cliff, who's my co-founder, just started taking these unbelievable photos of cans. He had the Canon camera back then, and like, creative dude. He would just take these shots that were just like, no one was really doing that. He told me cans first came in, and like I got them first, and I lined them all up at Moonstone Beach, and I took a photo with my iPhone. That was the first photo on Instagram. And he had called me and pulled it like 20 minutes later. He said, "We don't post iPhone photos."
We don't post iPhone
What
photos.
are you doing?
What are you doing?
He's like, "We're not going to do that." And we don't, and we haven't, and we've always done the photography ourselves. We have found other photographers that we've worked with that are like up and coming, but it's very hands-on. We have the Sony A7 R4. We got the video guy that just graduated, who lives down the block, that we have 15 hours a week. We are constantly creating content and capturing the moment and the vibe, and I think people feel that, people like that. From the content side, I think it's imperative, like, just to capture this amazing community. Humboldt is an amazing place, and sadly, through the internet and TV, it's just shown as like helicopters,
Murder Mountain,
bunch of weirdos growing weed in the hills,
and stuff out here.
Yeah.
So we, now our marketing department is, we have Jen Pike. She was the head of consumer engagement at Altria. She was the president of Skoll as well. She left there a couple years ago. She's helping us fractionally, and then I'm kind of running marketing side as well, from pushing content, campaigns. Podcasts have been really where we've been getting a lot of our traction, because we can't market like a normal company. We can't do Facebook, Instagram, or Google ads at all because we're CBD.
Do they just take it down, or are they just not even allowing you guys to do that?
I mean, they'll take it down and then they'll ban you. Tell you that you can't do that.
Really, I had no idea it was like that with the CBD stuff.
So there's no opportunity unless, like, now they've opened it up for anything that goes on just on your skin. So you'll see maybe ads for like muscle rubs with CBD.
Just the topical stuff.
Yep. So that's been actually, and that kind of made it so, like, to get noticed, like, it's an uphill climb. I mean, you can't pay for anything, so it's all really more influencer based. Podcasts, Pat McAfee helped put us on the map. He grew 10x over the last year. If you guys don't follow his podcast, the football podcast, better than anything ESPN's putting out at this point.
Step it up, ESPN.
Yeah. Yep. Or just bring on Pat. He's the man. And then there's other ones. I mean, we work with some of the Barstool platforms, their baseball pod, their golf podcast, and then even smaller ones. I mean, we've supported super small hockey podcasts that are
Chicklets.
Yeah, you guys need to get on Spin Chicklets. That's where that's at too. Yeah. They're like the hockey podcast.
We've been on there once or twice. I mean, our hockey guys are missing curfew.
Oh, okay.
You guys seen that one?
Yeah. I know
So
that.
OB and Updog, like, we're huge sponsors of them. We were on their first podcast. We just signed a deal with them. We're super stoked. I was still a little bummed that they didn't invite me to Tahoe last weekend for the
Outdoor game. Yeah.
NHL on ice. I understand I'm not a ex hockey guy. I'm just the dip guy, but I would have enjoyed it. But no, I think one big breaking moment for us was like 4 to 6 weeks ago. I resubmitted the Instagram to get verified. Got the blue check mark, which we're probably one of only like 10 cannabis brands.
Oh, you're in the blue check gang, huh?
They're in the blue check gang.
Wow.
I saw that. Yeah,
It's official.
I noticed that. Yeah.
No, but the second we did that, like, we're gaining 1,000 followers a week.
Well, that's what's like. It's so funny that on Instagram, it's like, if you get that blue check, like, you're real. You're official. You're the real guys now. You're not some fake company on Instagram.
Well, now we can we reach out to athletes every day. They see that. They're, yes, send us some tins.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just starts snowballing. And now we got a guy full time just on Instagram, just powering away. So, that's been huge for us too. And that's just all influencer, just sending out product. I mean, product speaks for itself. I mean, cans in hands. If we can give people cans that they try, we get a great repurchase rate. Awesome. Like we're into it.
Yeah.
We're not going to buy some billboard. That's not going to work.
You rather see it from the consumer standpoint, and that always kind of like sells way more than anything, especially having influential people that has millions of followers behind them. Like, they see that this person actually avidly likes that product. That's going to sell way more than a billboard or a little pop-up ad on your Instagram.
Or even someone with 8,000 followers.
Yeah.
You see Bob Menery throwing 2 cans down his face. People are like, oh, man, let's get it.
Yeah, and Bob was kind of the first foray, and hey, we're gonna spend some money with one of these guys that is just a phenomenon. Bob Menery is a phenomenon, and
it's just his voice that's what gets everybody.
We did a 5. Well, it was supposed to be for the Ripper Magoo podcast, and then like right when we did the deal, the podcast got clipped. He had some issue with the company, and so then we became the first sponsors of his new podcast, which was it'll come to me. It was shorter lived. He hasn't been doing as many podcasts, but then we're like figuring out how to work together. He's like, oh, we're gonna just do a bunch of social media stuff and get it going, and it was great. I mean, when people saw Bob Menery using the product and him creating skits and having fun around it, I think that really also opened up other influencers and other podcasts, and like it made it real. And it was just a ton of fun. I mean, there was definitely a lot of FaceTime calls with Bob. He's a very interesting cat.
I was gonna ask you like what was that guy like actually working with him? Because
he's
like,
just like he is on the.
That's not like a personality
he
he
never
puts on.
turns
He's
it
just
off. He does not turn it off. Like,
no way. He's just always in that mode.
He is Bob Mennery. I mean, it was a bummer too that like we did it during COVID because we would have totally been. He was holed up at that point down in L.A. in Beverly Hills. We would have totally got down there.
Is he a West guy? Is he a West Coast guy?
Boston guy?
I thought he was Boston originally.
yeah, but he moved here though. Yeah. He's here still, I think.
Yeah, he's here still, but now he's just constantly traveling. He's doing the fan controlled football. He's doing Buffalo Wild Wings. He's doing.
He's in everything now.
Yeah, he's cool.
Have you guys reached out to the Aussie guy voiceover? Who? The Aussie guy. What's his?
Like Aussie Man Reviews or something. He just reviews. Like he's he's kind of like Bob in a sense. Like he does like a lot of his stuff was like the voiceover stuff on videos, but he just like has that same personality. Just kind of makes fun of everything that he does, but he's got that sweet Australian accent that everybody loves.
Well, we'll hit him up. I mean, we are doing a little work with Blake Weber.
Oh, no.
Okay, dude, he's hilarious too.
Just in regards that we're sponsoring his new podcast, which is unbelievable. It's called Country Club Adjacent, with these 4 comedians. They're all stand up, and it's just like the funniest golf stuff. So we're working with him. I think his stuff's great.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he rips at golf too. He's really good at golf.
Golf, and I mean, we've gotten into golf. Like we got into the subverse side of golf though. Like I started reaching out to all the long drive guys, and then the long drive guys introduced me to like the golf influencers and the comedians, and now we work with like PGA memes and Country Club Adjacent and all the long drive and Butsy and all these like incredible golf people that once travel lets up a little bit, it's gonna be fun finally connecting with them all.
Yeah, getting to see all these cool people that you can actually go have some fun with.
That's something, like we talked about that prior to coming on. Like, that's something we really like when a company allows us to come and see the location, like meet up face to face and do a podcast with you guys, because we get it. It's hard to travel. Like, we do have our studio down in LA, and we sadly don't really use it. But we go out on the road because like we really like when we get a product base. It's like, this is something we'll use, but this is also like a really interesting product, or it was someone that we knew that had something cool. So it's just like promoting the boys or promoting something that we think is going to be sick that we want to get out to our viewers as well. So, I mean, you guys you have a catchy can, you got a bunch of different flavors, your logo looks awesome. Plus you guys, it's a rad company, what you guys are doing. You guys were kind of the first people to come up with this whole idea, weed dips to Cannadips, and, I mean, yeah, like, I can't wait till COVID does end and we can go back out and start meeting people, because I think we'll be able to actually really get into a lot more situations as well.
Oh, totally.
I mean, let's talk about some of the flavors, too, that you guys got, because I've only tried mint so far, which was...
Oh, you had Lemonhead the other day, right?
I didn't try the lemon one. I just tried the mint one. I didn't even try the wintergreen either, but...
5 flavors total, right?
We have 5 core flavors. So we got a citrus, American spice, which... might have been misnamed because people don't know what it is. Is it like hot dogs or fireworks?
It's actually hot dogs and fireworks.
It's hot dogs and gunpowder.
But it's a cinnamon, more of a cinnamon flavor. We got mango, wintergreen, which is 43% of the dip market, and mint. And then
there's 6 flavors because we have.
We got mint too. You're smuggling that one.
Yeah. Well, then we also have our Humboldt collection, which is cannabis strain flavors in the CBD market. So we work with different terpenes and then flavor the dip like famous cannabis strains. So for example, we even have a convenience store chain on the East Coast called Sheets. Amazing. I think we're in 180 stores. They have an exclusive on Z Kittles. So like, it's pretty cool. You can go to the gas station in Pennsylvania, get Z Kittles chew. And that's then, we just launched Blue Dream this week. I was going
to say, I'd see the Blue Dream one right here.
Lemon Tree was a collaboration with a company in Santa Cruz that's their special strain. And it's kind of a way for us to do limited release stuff and then work with other companies and collab, because we just brand the side sticker. And that's kind of fun.
You guys got to get in on the Pineapple Express side of things and watch people just freak out over that because of the movie too.
That would be a big one. I mean, we're working on a Runts one that I think will be really good. It'd be nice to talk to Cookies, a Cookies collab. would obviously be pretty cool. When we relaunch the pot in June or July, we're gonna do a lot of cannabis collabs, and it's gonna make it really fun as well.
Nice. So like, what was like your biggest shocking moment of like starting this company and getting into the game where you were just like, dude, I thought this was gonna be way easier than this, and this sucks? Was it like the actual, like you were saying, when it kind of got legalized and you were like, everybody was fighting for territory, or was it just more along the lines of the actual making of the product?
That's a tough question. I think, making of the product was super hard. We had a technology originally that was really hard to test the product because the labs, we had such a new technology, the labs weren't able to get a reliable test. And then we would submit it to the lab. They wouldn't get the right test, but then they only get to test it once. It's the word of God at that point. So all our product came back and it said it was half potency. We had to re-sticker everything and then sell it for less than it was worth because consumer wasn't going to pay that. And it just made us look like, a bunch of scrubs. Like we had this 500 milligram tin that was only $260 on a sticker when it was really 500, and the lab couldn't go back and retest it because of regulation. And like, you're meeting retailers and you're like, oh, this tin's $320 and this tin's $260 and this tin's $410. They're like, what the fuck is this? This is not, it's like that was really tough just because we really want to get it right. And then I think just, coming up with this amazing idea and like just the time maybe not being right and just like spending way more than you're making. I have people that are super excited about it and just watching your pile of cash dwindle and dwindle and dwindle.
Just wondering when it's going to come back around.
Yeah, or just like, being like, fuck, like, are we going to miss out on this opportunity and someone else is going to capitalize on our failure? I think like, there's a lot of variables like that as an entrepreneur that, and, we're finally getting over, our last hurdle right now to where, I feel like, it's finally there to where you're like, worst case scenario is a great scenario. Like, I'm happy with that. Like, but like, Cliff and I always were like, oh, this is going to be the Copenhagen of cannabis. But then we always imagined there's going to be 100 competitors within like 2 months. And it's been like 5 years and, there's not been one legit competitor.
That's pretty cool.
There's a couple like fly-by-night CBD companies that are just stuffing isolate in a bag and none of it gets out and the brand sucks. And like, but they're, we know they're coming. Like, I think the interesting thing about us is because the equipment to make the pouches are so specialized. Big Tobacco also can't make cannabis products because like you don't want to jeopardize something that's making you billions of dollars for some fringe market. So we've kind of like the equipment that could beat us is already being used, and pouch products are gaining in popularity, especially with the white nicotine technology, etc. That we kind of had this like little window to where hopefully, we've built a strong enough brand, locked up enough intellectual property to that, we are that Copenhagen of cannabis product. And I think, it's finally coming to the realization that, that's actually going to happen. And a lot of other people have bought into our dream and vision, and it's, it's continuing to move forward. And I think we've gotten past those moments where it's just like, I'm taking my salary down to $1,000 and, how much longer can I live on this? And, what can we do? Where can we find 20 grand there? And how do we do this? And it's just like, there's only so much of that. And I think it's working with, our initial investors up here that get it and that all believed in it. And, everyone's still hanging on because we all knew, like, if we can get this right, like, this is a huge market segment. Yes, we would, like, product's always going to be made in Humboldt. It's our brand. Like, we did it right the first time. Like, if some big tobacco company had come up with this, it wouldn't be coconut fiber. It wouldn't be flavored with essential oils. They wouldn't use things like stevia or monk fruit or, like, healthy ingredients. So we kind of feel like we put the mark on the map and did it right the first time, being a couple hippie kids from Santa Cruz, that were making these up in Humboldt. So it'll be interesting to see where it takes us, but that, I think, to go back to the question, I mean, yeah, I mean, having the product all test wrong, just having a fucking just huge pile of shit to deal with. Well, and then we had a distributor, right? And they're like, they don't want to sell it. Like, their salespeople go out and they're
even they're looking at it like, we can't sell this shit. What do you
no
mean?
one wants to sell it, and like, it was just, we're just so bummed. This is all we had, right? So like putting all of our hard work into and having this variable go into someone else's hands, and having that be the governmental decision, and having that not go our way because of something outside of our control was really difficult. And we had to wear it. We had to wear it for a year.
Gotta own it.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you just talked about it, like when obviously you guys had a whole team that believed in the product. You guys were clearly passionate about it. Like, you kind of almost had that, like, there's no way we can fail attitude, which is like something that when you get hit pretty hard like that, you expect something to be awesome, and it comes back and it's, a shit product. Like, a lot of people, it's easy to just be like, well, that sucked, I guess we're not doing that. So like, having a good team supporting you and obviously
knowing you guys had something good.
Yeah,
you're
not
we just gotta
taking
get over this hurdle.
Yeah, not taking the
Never
shit,
gonna have
I guess.
another opportunity like it.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. I mean, I own a THC company next door. We make live resin for 40 brands. It's super successful, great, but like, that company's never gonna sell for 300 million or 500 million or $1 billion or 80 million or whatever. Like, it's just, we have this finite, incredible opportunity where we created a technology, we created a product, we've protected it, now we're creating a brand and really pushing that brand on a national scale, and it's like, like, we do have that opportunity for like this unicorn play. So, but I mean, to go back to the people believing in it, I mean, it's also like, I mean, I raised money from, like people I knew, so like, I couldn't, if the thing was going down, I mean, I was going down with it. It's not one of those situations where I could be like, it's not working out for me. You guys
Just
can't
walk away from it.
You guys can't pay me my salary anymore, and I got this other great deal over. It just wasn't in the cards. Wasn't how we do business. So there was hurdles for sure.
Failure wasn't the option at this point. You guys were just gonna press on no matter what hit you guys. Like, you might have had a failure, but that was gonna.
There's plenty of failures. I mean, when you're an entrepreneur and you have good ideas, there's a lot of landmines out there. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of courtroom situations. There's a lot of things that can, when you start seeing success and there's areas of opportunity. I mean, there's a whole group of people looking for young entrepreneurs and ideas, and they're very skilled at figuring out how to, get those rolling themselves, whether it's a copycat or whether it's whatever. So, I think it's imperative, as, for entrepreneurs to band together and to communicate. I mean, I was on the phone, I had someone reach out on LinkedIn this morning, some young lady, she's 21, from Kentucky. Got on the phone with her this morning. She had some crazy idea, which I won't delve into, and had reached out and was like, hey, you did something cool. Like, what do you think about this? And got to spend an hour with her, like, brainstorming how she can protect it and next steps. And I think, the more people can do to have a forum to communicate, I probably need to get on the Clubhouse app. I've been seeing that, like, going wild. But
yeah, there's all sorts of, like, new stuff coming out all the time. It's like, it's hard to keep up with.
Yeah. But that's just like, that's exactly it. And like, even me just sitting here, I'm like, well, there's like 5 people that's been on the podcast that I can link these guys up with to do stuff with their companies and cross promote and stuff. And
totally.
But it's always that kind of open door-ish to an extent, like, look at an opportunity and be like, hey, like, kind of see how you can use your connections to make this stuff work together, but always be working amongst each other, share ideas with each other and be willing to sit down at the table and talk. And I think that's just a very cool new thing that's really happened with entrepreneurs, because for the longest time it was a lot of old money and a lot of old guys that just didn't want to branch into younger guys being able to have that idea that came up. It was like, we made our money, we have our money, I don't really want to give you my money because I don't think you can do it as well as I did. But today, there's 100 people like us that are like, no, like, let's talk, let's sit down and talk, and let's figure out how all these ideas can come together and we can make something great out of it. And so think if anything's come out of business and entrepreneurship in the last 10, 15 years with the social media era, I think social media, as many negatives as it has a lot of positives for people to cross work with each other and to see opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You get to see, we post our, 10 seconds of greatness that we have in life, not our, millions hours of failures and just getting kicked down. We show all our great stuff, but in that greatness, like, you can see someone's serious potential, be like, hey, that person, like, he might not have that following right now, but he has an opportunity. If we cross promote each other, we could work really good in hand with each other. So I think that's like a really cool aspect that's really come to the table these days, and how you can get your product out there. And like you said, the influencer market's just absolutely astonishing what it can do. I mean, we saw what Instagram did to a stock market a couple weeks ago. I mean, the Instagram could
to the moon, baby.
Yeah, we can. They do stock market manipulation now on Instagram. It's absolutely asinine what can happen. So, I mean, there's no say that like just giving your can to the right person could really strike a $100 million deal one day just off of an idea that you talked about on a podcast or gave to the right person that day. It was like, hey, you know what? I have a hedge fund or something like that wants to buy your guys' brand. Like, let's go sit down and talk.
Get that money. I was just gonna ask. I mean, I don't know how much you're gonna want to talk about, but like, for the future wise, like, are you guys sticking with just your core flavors, or are you guys looking to expand into more flavors? Like, what are you guys planning on doing?
Yeah,
I don't want to get too deep.
couple new flavors that we're working on. We're figuring. I think a peach, a whiskey. Those are high on the list. Or whiskey bourbon. Working on a long cut is imperative. Pouches are great. Like, what I like about the pouch is that it's dosed. We know exactly how much is in each pouch. That's actually imperative on the cannabis side because it's very easy to dose. When you're working with a molecule that's psychoactive, it's nice to know how much you're having.
So not just getting hit. Dude, these things don't even work. Oh, whoa.
Oh, yeah. No,
whoa, I'm in a different time zone.
Yep. But the long cut is something that, look, I mean, there's those certain type of guys, and I'm also one of them that loves just hanging a huge hog, and getting it going, and a long cut's great, and we've just been really fine tuning the mulch medium. It has to be right, so that's something that's coming up too. Different doses as well. In retail, you don't want to have a ton of different SKUs because there's a lot behind each one. So we're really happy with these flavors. But the e-com business kind of also provides us an opportunity to release things early, do limited runs, see how people like things, almost work with our community. Before we then take it to the next step and be like, we're going to do a blueberry. Like, that was a huge hit. So we're going to really use our group of dippers. It was almost like a testing ground, and in the month of April, get a free can of this with an order. Tell us what you feel. Like, totally, using this amazing consumer research element to guide our decision making.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, I can't wait to see it. Have you guys thought about? Never seen this happen with tobacco before, but like a signature line with like certain people and do an X amount of run with someone, like pro baseball players, like, hey, I like this flavor, I want to do like a signature series
the Bob Menery edition,
and
it just tastes like a buffalo wing.
We do it with the cannabis companies like Lemon Tree one, but we're talking to a couple different people. Dallas Braden of Starting Nine, we're gonna discuss maybe doing his favorite cannabis flavor, kind of partnering up with those guys, similar to like how Pink Whitney and the Spittin' Chicklets did their thing. I mean, what's kind of cool about the coconut fiber base is it's like an inert medium that absorbs everything. So we can do anything with it. Like, we're not starting with, like, if you're doing a mint leaf base, everything's going to be a little minty.
Yes.
Or coffee grinds, like, it's all going to be kind of coffee-ish. So
right, so your flavors are like kind of endless, right? Like, I mean, essentially, like, you can have that absorb anything, like you're saying. So like you're not really restricted on flavors. You can do whatever you want, somewhat.
What you're saying there too is also one of our biggest tailwinds in like our retail sell is like flavor bans and tobacco. So they're banning flavors and even chewing tobacco flavors across the country.
Really?
California's already banning all flavors right now. vapes, chew. So imagine you're a retailer that had all these SKUs. They're gone. And people can't get their flavors. But Cannadips, we're going to do more flavors. I mean, we have flavors. So instantly you have this huge tailwind of like offering flavors to where like if you're chewing Copenhagen, it's just like Copenhagen straight. If you're chewing Cannadips, it's like, 7 flavors. Taste of the rainbow.
Hey,
7 flavors, taste of the
Phoenix,
rainbow.
cut that out. We're going to give it to him for marketing. I nailed that one. Not a big deal or anything.
I had no idea that. I knew the vapes were going away with flavors. I had no idea.
Chew too.
Chew, yeah.
Oh, flavors appeal to kids.
Yeah, exactly. That was the big thing that got the vape industry in trouble. Like grandma's cookies and bubble gum and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was what
Yep.
I mean, I remember like me growing up. We grew up with a bunch of cowboys. So if you didn't chew Copenhagen Long Cut or Copenhagen Snuff, you're a little girl or something like that. If you were chewing like peach or mint or apple or sour apple or something like that.
If you were chewing pouches, I mean, get out of here.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, there was a name for those X bag. There's a word that we're not allowed to say anymore due to political correctness.
Sure.
Yeah, but
gotta stay PC, buddy.
But I remember you'd be at the rodeo or something like that, and like one of the dads out there would knew like one of the kids chewed, and you'd be like, "Oh, let me grab a chew," and like the kid would pull out like sour apple. He'd be like, "All right, no, you can keep your
Never mind, I don't even need that." Yeah,
girly tobacco, but. I mean, there definitely is an industry for like mint and lemon. The lemon head one was absolutely awesome. So, I mean, that's cool being able to ride that tailwind and kind of bring that into the market and replace and give a better alternative to chew that tastes great. And
Yep.
That's exciting. So I can't wait to see the long cut stuff come out. And is there like a caffeinated Cannadip thing that you guys could even do or anything like that? Is that possible, or like a coffee?
Totally possible.
Yeah.
Some of the competitors in the chewing tobacco space, I mean, their whole product is actually built around caffeine delivery.
Yeah.
I've played around with it earlier on, but now that you bring it up, it's another one to put to the top of the list of figuring out like what is the Cannadips, daytimer.
Yeah.
Hey, we're just nailing it right now.
I just see that, like branching up with a coffee company or something like that, and being like, hey, we could do like a coffee flavored caffeine Cannadip.
Starbucks Cannadip.
Black Rifle coffee. Muertos coffee.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying for them. I mean, that's us. So
Yeah, we're
not trying to. Hey, they can do what they want to do, right? This is their company, not ours, Matt.
Right. But no, that's awesome. I'm really stoked that you've been able to bring us up here, kind of show us how the operation works, and give us a tour of the warehouse, how you guys make it, show us around, let us meet everyone. Like, this has been awesome, man. I really appreciate you taking time out of your morning to let us come up to the beautiful Humboldt County and get the drive coming up here through the Avenue of the Giants. And
oh yeah,
I mean, it was clear up until about 10 miles back that way until we hit about Eureka, then it started clouding up on us up here. So
it's a little different up here.
Yeah. It's got a cool vibe, and I like how you said you're putting the positive appearance back in the Humboldt County area, not having everyone just focusing on Murder Mountain and the bad things that happen up here. There's a lot of good that happens up here still with Lost Coast and everything like that.
Tons of good stuff up here. I mean, I fell in love with this place. I mean, it's a good community. I mean, it's all innovators and like cool badass people that like wanted to find a place to be able to exist. And I think we have tons of good brands up here, tons of cool innovation, and just because cannabis is now legal doesn't mean that we need to get all the jobs pushed to Salinas or Santa Barbara. Humboldt grows the best cannabis. It's gonna once we can send that nationwide, awesome. There's so much cool product dev, and even outside of cannabis. I mean, we're the number 2 oyster bay in the U.S. We got beautiful redwood trees and so much cool stuff to do, and we want to build this landmark facility here and compound, and be able to highlight and showcase other people, and put this community on the map. I mean, that's why if you guys have watched, we're doing this OG with OGs series.
Oh, sick.
Video series where we're going out to cannabis farms and just talking about what they're doing and showing people like what it really is like, not what you see on Dateline NBC.
Give them the real story.
Not what you're seeing on Drugs Inc. All these weird people wearing masks.
Putting the positivity on the industry, and I think that was a big reason I wanted to put you guys on the podcast too and bring you guys up here. I talked to Devin about it, and I'm like, dude, check out this company. Like, you know, he wasn't a Big Dipper guy, but he saw this and he knew I was. He's always made fun of me for like my snooze and Copenhagen.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I would yell at this guy all the time. He'd
Yeah.
be stopping at liquor stores to get, you know, pouches or whatever. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna slap you next time you have one of these. How's that sound?
And then, you know, like it just he saw that and he's like, dang, dude, that's a really
That's
sick
a cool idea, and it's
he's
like that's
I want to
something.
give that a try.
Yeah, that's something I can like stand behind too, because I'm also a big, you know, CBD guy, and it's like, you know, if you could have something you just throw in your mouth real quick and it's hardly even noticeable, like that's sick. I can stand behind that. That's rad.
Yeah, man.
And like you said, the flavor. I mean, I've had one in for since I got here, you know, hour and a half ago, and it's still tasting great.
Still pumping flavor.
Products money. I mean, that's one thing we scored on. I mean, it goes back to TJ, the guy in Ecuador who makes the beer. I mean, he nailed it.
And you know, like just kind of reaffirmation for our listeners too. Like, if you're in a drug sensitive job, like you don't have to worry about this popping up on a drug test because it's pure.
The CBD product is THC free, so and, you know, we can't go out there and say you won't fail a drug test. We don't know what if you walk by someone smoking a joint. And, you know, we can't for product liability purposes.
Yeah.
But the CBD we use has no detectable THC. The end product we test has no detectable THC. Take it from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's just a great, you know, sales pitch. Plus, you know, you guys are in. Where are we at? Where can we find you? We can find Cannadips, Cannadips.com, Instagram Cannadips. Where else? Where can we find you to buy it though?
So we have a national deal with Circle K. Hasn't yet unlocked California. California is a little backwards on CBD and retail. One of the few states. But any Circle K, Arizona, Texas, up in the north, East Coast. Other big chains, Quick Trip with a K up in the Wisconsin, Minnesota area. And then Sheets in Pennsylvania. And then we're rolling out with a bunch of other stores. Also, we're going to have our store locator through the Instagram and through Cannadips and CannadipsCBD.com updated in the next couple of weeks. So people can give us a go. And then...
can you ship all 50 states yet?
48.
48.
Yeah.
What is there anything internationally as well? Like, do you guys have?
It's a touchy subject.
Is it? Yeah. Okay, that's what I was kind of what I figured, but I didn't know if you guys were allowed.
Cannadips are in Europe. You could if you're European and you want to check out Cannadips, they have 3 of the flavors and they're great.
That's awesome.
Well, there you go.
Oh, you guys are growing. I'm really stoked to follow this brand and see where you guys end up. You know, definitely doing follow-up stories coming up, doing more work with you guys.
Sweet.
I love it up here.
We'll go put Matt in one of those cool robes and get him a little chin strap and make him do some work product.
Right, yeah.
He'd be great.
Yeah, he can just sit
Tin
there.
in.
Yeah, he can be the tin guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I could be the tin guy for a little bit, but you know, I mean, I've always grew up steelhead salmon fishing through the Klamath all the way up into Oregon.
Oh, nice.
I come up here all the time fishing. I mean, this is a place for an outdoorsman up here too. You know, like this is a great area for outdoors.
And then just to plug Area 52, I mean, you know, we do use their promo code for 20% off. So if you use Area 52 as a promo code.
Okay.
We're going to be going back out there in a couple of weeks filming our 50K follower video. So if you guys are going to be around for that, we're funding this. He's building some insane set of jumps.
We got a little sneak peek that we can't show on our podcast with them, but we got a sneak peek of the Cannadip.
Okay.
Yeah. We can just say that you guys have some really cool stuff coming, definitely. Yep. So stay tuned on that. And again, thank you for letting us come up here and check everything out and talk about this awesome company. And we're stoked to see where you guys go. And definitely go check out Cannadips. Get yourself all the flavors because they're delicious. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
thanks guys. Have a good one.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.